Community is one of the core elements of the Sudbury model, but the word community means a lot of different things in the English language. What exactly is community in the context of Sudbury, and why do we consider it so important? I've brought 3 staff members from different Sudbury schools here today to answer these questions and to share how community plays out in their schools.
I'm an active member in a very small community. I come here every day to interact with people of all ages, and we're all living our lives. We get to figure out who we are within this community. All of us, through the experience of living with one another and interacting with one another as free individuals, get to learn about ourselves.
Our community means that we are each intentionally choosing to be part of this group and to be part of the work of sustaining this school. We have so many choices here, but to get this level of choice and freedom, you're also choosing to make certain sacrifices. If you want to be here, this is your choice. And then you also have to choose all the agreements that we voted on together in order to be here. You can't kick someone here and still want to be a member of this community, because we're really clear, like, you can't hit other people.
Our school is about the balance between community and independence, autonomy. You shouldn't be forced to be part of something that you don't want to be part of, but you should feel invited to participate to something that is happening and that you want to participate. I think this is the place to have that freedom, to have time for yourself if you need that, an opportunity to interact with a friend. Or are you interested in playing something with many? If you're an adult, maybe you can decide if you want to go to the party or not, if you want to go to church or not, if you want to enroll in a master's or not. I mean, you have that level of autonomy to decide. But a lot of times in society right now, kids are not allowed to take those decisions.
We do not accept students who are forced to be here. If a student doesn't want to be here, they don't have to be here. And that, I think, is a significant difference from conventional schooling. I think most of us who attended conventional schooling, even as far back as when I did, there were people who didn't want to be there, and yet they had to be there. And that's hard on the idea of community.
I have homeschooled, unschooled my own children before we opened the Sudbury School. And there's many ways in which homeschooling, unschooling, it does provide a different kind of freedom. There's often not as much challenge. There's not the same social challenge unless you're in a homeschool group or a pod. There's different ways, but at least for me, I felt when I was bringing my children to these social environments, you're dipping into the environment, but I think you're also missing out on an important challenge of that continuity of human relationship and that continuity of appropriate social challenge. Sometimes other people are really annoying and they're really challenging. And it's hard and to figure out resolving those conflicts and what it is to have like a mediation, tell another person your feelings and to know you're going to see them the next day, and you have this continuity, this accountability, and with that comes this strength of relationship. Typically you're having to practice frustration tolerance in a very real and authentic way. But once I read about the Sudbury model, I really thought, you know what? I can't provide this in the same way at home.
You get to experience people's ups and downs. Sometimes somebody comes in who's your best buddy and they had a bad day, and you get to experience that. So in a community that meets regularly, We get to learn how to support one another through tough times, and we get to learn how to be supported, because sometimes that's not so easy. Those are the aspects of community that are very precious to us.
This is what I often say about Sudbury is it's very real. It's not artificial. I'm not lesson planning like, what will be like a really situation that they'll have to solve. And I mean, the truth is that kids smell artificial from 20 paces. Like, this is a real life, real situation of real human beings all in one space, figuring out how to share it and how to pursue their interests without stepping on someone else's toes, sometimes literally, and how to be a person among other people.
From our perspective, freedom necessarily comes with responsibilities. Yeah, are there things that are required at a school like ours? Of course there are. You're in a community. It is not anarchy. It's ordered freedom. And if you don't like it, you can try to change things. And I've spoken about changing rules in the past. There are many examples of that, where a rule is onerous in some way or inappropriate in some way, and a community member can bring that forward. And they do. 2 days a week, Alpine Valley School does chores. All of us do the chores. They're divided to little kid chores, big kid chores. Everybody has to do them. And you can ask for help. And of course, you can get help. So the chores are there. Last year, at the end of the year, a person came to the Aesthetics and Use Committee and said, I'd like to try doing chores once a week. And so we tried it. And for the remainder of the year, which I think was maybe a month, we only did chores once a week. And it was awful. And it was universally accepted that it was awful. And so we're back to 2 days a week.
I think what comes up with the organic community is that we try to encourage all the families to really participate in creating community. We have done many things, but one family invited all the school to go and visit firefighters because, they wanted, they had that connection. And so many students were like, oh yeah, let's do it. So as a community, we were there, but we weren't having a social event. We were exploring and learning about something different. And then another family would say, oh, I want to invite the school to this ranch. So it's more about how do we invite and empower all the families in different ways to participate.
Parents will often say, well, are they being exposed to a wide variety of things that will pique their interests? They're in a human community. There is just naturally going to be a wide variety of interests. Everyone here is interested in something a little bit different. And they're going to try to recruit you for their interests. They win the idea board or in a meeting. Hey, I want to do a D&D campaign. What's D&D? Oh, and I'll explain it, right? This is Dungeons and Dragons, and you get these sheets and we fill out these characters and they have different, and I don't even understand all of it, which is great, right? I can just watch this magical, collaborative, cooperative interest evolve. We think of what are the most important things that we want our children to learn and to internalize. We really just want them to be internalizing and practicing being a good, kind, honest member of a human community, right? These are pro-social skills that will serve them their whole lives.
The recent events, many of us restricted from being with one another on a regular basis because of worldwide issue. And since then, the idea of being together has become much more important to us as a school. Being able to walk into a room and sit with somebody and speak to them, or to be approached by somebody in person, is a huge part of being in a community. You can read their faces, You can hear the tone of voice, you can see body language, and being in a community allows you to do that.
You know, this is such a unique space where instead of the top-down, pre-planned, the curated experience, the focus is let's all be community, intentionally deciding what we're doing, and you can still pursue your interests as long as you're doing it in a way that is respectful of everybody else.